to mention having a card permits you to even more easily do things like shop online, publication, a hotel room, or rent out an auto. The only time they must behave information is when you spend more than you can repay. Number for renting is essentially shedding cash. Has any individual ever before told you that leasing a home or apartment is a large waste of money? It's a debate that gets tossed around by lots of people, and while there are some precise advantages to owning your home through plenty of for renters to be reside in an age where occupations don't last a lifetime, the typical individual nowadays will change tasks about 12 times 12. If you purchased a home at the age of 25, you might just be a couple of changes into it, which suggests new as well as interesting chances across the nation come to be further out of reach. You would certainly have to sell your residence initially, and that's generally not quick. Neither simple leasing gives millennials and also Zoomers way a lot more flexibility and independence, and genuinely, the majority of them are paying down a mountain of student funding financial debt, because their parents told them how vital it was to head to college rather than starting their job. Number 5. Constantly hire an investment advisor. Well, we are not going to knock the worth of a solid investment or financial advisor due to the fact that it was impolite campaign. Back in the 1930s, De Beers jewelers ran an advertisement suggesting that men should invest at the very least 1 month income on their beau's engagement ring. By the 80s, that amount to struck 2 months' wage. And now it's widely thought that when you placed a ring on, it has to cost at least 3 months' income to be worthwhile. Let's simply call this what it is: bullshit. If you want to splurge on a ring, you do you. But these regulations are essentially just standing signaling, and it's not what is very important in a relationship. And also take a look at it. By doing this, buying a massive diamond isn't actually a great investment. Finest, you conserve that cash for something that there are required is most definitely outdated. Back when no one talked about money, lots of people had no idea how to play the money game. However, should understand what the net is. A truly beautiful game changer. Modern technology has actually allowed us to relatively simply as well as securely invest ourselves. Online broker agents and also applications make it simple to acquire stocks or crypto, something we damage down for you in an actually understandable way in our Bitcoin vital ratings. And if afterwards you still really feel lost, you can also take advantage of a robo-experts to pick your investments for you, basically leaving your profile to be taken care of by a supercomputer. As soon as you struck a net worth in the millions, after that it makes good sense to employ an investor. However, prior to that factor, it's actually not essential. Number 6. Real estate is the most effective investment. Oh, just how usually do we hear this? As well as while we are not claiming it's a poor financial investment, it's just crucial to acknowledge it's not the very best investment for every person. Real estate can be just as high risk as other investments. Many people have actually located themselves in a situation of getting a house in a warm market just to have its storage tank a couple of years later, leaving them to take a loss in the ultimate sale. In a case like this, the cash put into true, at the very least it did for boomers, yet in the 21st century, it has only played out the exact same for us these days. It's typically much more education and learning, even more debt in reality. This year, worldwide student car loan financial obligation topped one factor, $7 trillion. Obtaining a higher level isn't most likely to ensure you anything unless you're a physician or an additional type of specialist. So enhancing official education truly need to be checked out from an investment viewpoint. Does the cost-benefit proportion make sense? Would certainly gaining the real-world experience in your field offer you a larger benefit over more examining? Can you discover the abilities you need to discover by yourself without paying an establishment for an expensive notepad? Just some food for believed Alexa. Number 3. Bank card are bad information. This can most definitely hold true for some individuals, but it's barely reasonable to make that type of covering statement, since a person, spread $200K across 5 cards and assumed it had not been going to matter. If used correctly, charge card can really offer up many perks that buying with cash doesn't. For example, you can earn cash back or obtain rewards for buying things you would have bought anyhow. And also, if you're a constant vacationer, it's easy to acquire points as well as take, and also virtually cost-free holidays. Enjoy private airport lounges, added travel luggage and upgrades. Cash is commonly one of those frowned on subjects, right? It's really dumb when you consider it, due to the fact that money is the driving pressure in society. You possibly believe it's disrespectful to freely discuss money issues due to the fact that your moms and dads instructed you. So, no wonder numerous individuals aren't monetarily literate. Mom and dad were wrong. Which is why today we are taking a look at 10 other money lessons that should never ever be educated once again. Let's go. Leading, always pay in cash. This well-intentioned rule is based in some truth. It's absolutely tougher to spend beyond your means when you've obtained a finite number of expenses in your purse and literally seeing your money change hands off could make you think twice greater than simply swiping a card. However, it simply does not match real life. Upwards of 2-factor 4 billion individuals are shopping online nowadays, and those purchases aren't happening with cash. It's all debt, PayPal, Venmo, as well as currently crypto. And what about life's large ticket items? How some individuals can manage to acquire an auto with only cash? That doesn't suggest it's a clever move. If you can borrow cash at a lower rate than the passion you done, if you invested the cash, it makes more sense to take out a finance the auto and spend what you don't invest. Number 2, more education and learning equals more cash. This policy used to criteria age of 65 or something that was generated by the US Social Security Act back in 1835 at a time when the average lifespan was just over 60 years old. A lot has actually transformed ever since. The existing average lifespan has to do with 82 years, which implies individuals need to plan for a much longer retirement. If they intend to stop working at 65 with specific privileges and sensible money relocations, it's completely feasible to retire at 35. However, on the flip side, with poorer situations as well as less than smart money moves, several others are forced to work in some capacity well into their 70s and also 80s. By this point, 65 is simply an arbitrary variety of individuals cling to, not to mention the truth that with enhancements in medication as well as overall lifestyle, 65 isn't really that old individuals, because age brace still have a ton of value to offer up. Alright, youngster. What are a few of the dumbest money policies you've heard throughout the years? Allows expose them in the comments area with each other so no one else come down with crappy recommendations from the past. As well as, given that you lingered with us until the actual end, we have actually been conserving a reward for you. One more silly money guideline that you can toss out: an interaction ring must set you back 2 to 3 months' salary. Talk about a reliable home. Most likely would have paid greater rewards if it had been invested in an index fund instead. If you have actually yet to make any investments, going straight to real estate is likely not a wise relocation. Begin small and also consider the risks before going big. Number 7, always pay your mortgage ASAP. So, if you have actually made the leap and purchased yourself a home or a financial investment residential property, some guidance you might hear is to pay the home loan down as soon as humanly feasible. However, that does not constantly make the most effective economic sense. A fine example can be located on cash under 30. If you're paying 3% passion on your mortgage as well as manage to pay it off, you currently have that 3% back in your pocket. However, the ordinary return on the S&P 500 has actually had to do with 8 to 10% yearly. If you paid the regular home mortgage repayments at 3% and also redirected the remainder of that spending plan to an index fund at 8%, because the 50s, which means you'd be checking out 5% profit as opposed to simply 3 by paying the home loan down much faster. Number 8, don't invest until your financial debt cost free. Oh, geez. Well, this one sounds like it makes a great deal of feeling in the beginning, provided some thought, as well as you'll swiftly recognize exactly how flawed item of guidance is. Investing takes some time to pay off, and if you wait till you're completely debt-free prior to you buy anything, you could not begin till your 40s or 50s. And that's a great deal of time squandered, as well as compound passion lost beginning small and very early beginning late with a bigger upfront financial investment, due to the fact that your earning potential over time is likely to be greater than the initial cost with a well-balanced budget. It's completely achievable to deal with both hacking down your financial debt and growing a financial investment portfolio at the same time. Beginning small, however, begin currently. Number 9, set and forget retirement plans. Retirement are one of those things where it's a little bit of an inquiry of whether they're even worth it. These days, they do have advantages. Certainly, like saving for your future, however, likewise downsides like charges for early withdrawal as well as minimal alternatives for investments. If you do have a retirement, like a 401k in the US, neglect the recommendations to neglect and also establish with just how swiftly things change on the market, and also in many cases your profession best to review and also change your fund equilibrium contributions and objectives on a continuous basis, failing to remember and establishing as a recipe for dissatisfaction later on down the line. As well as speaking of retired life, number 10, you retire when you're 65. Yeah, this sets kind of